It always begins the same way, not with chaos, but with stillness. A quiet moment before it all falls apart. You're lying in bed. The ceiling looks the same. The walls haven't changed, but something's wrong. Something deep, There's a silence in the world that doesn't comfort, it crushes, You scroll through your phone, hoping for a distraction, but everything feels hollow. Then it hits, the job you counted on? Gone, The person you trusted? Walked away, The life you built? Crumbling, No warning. No mercy. It's not fair, but life doesn't ask for fairness. This is the storm, And you're standing in the center of it. You might want to run. You might want to scream, But this moment, this exact moment, is sacred. Because here's the truth no one tells you. You don't find out who you are when everything goes right. You find out when the wind rips the roof off and you're left in the rain with nothing but your breath and your will. And in that moment, you have one choice. Kneel or rise. This story isn't about pretending to be strong, It's about becoming strong. Not for applause, Not for revenge, but for yourself. Because if you can stand in the fire without being burned, you don't just survive, You change. When the world outside becomes chaos, the only place left to go is within. There's a fortress inside you, Not made of stone. Not visible to the eye, But it's real, and it's yours. The Stoics called it the inner citadel, Marcus Aurelius ruled over an empire, but his true kingdom was this place, A space no betrayal could touch, No loss could reach, No insult could penetrate. You may not control what happens around you, But you can control the meaning you give it, And that is everything. Let's be clear, this isn't toxic positivity, This isn't pretending things are fine, This is radical ownership, This is saying, I don't like this. I didn't choose this, But I will choose how I respond. You take the pain and place it on the forge, You take the fear and throw it into the fire, And what comes out is you. Refined. The strongest people you know aren't the loudest, They're the ones who went into the citadel when it all fell apart, and came back carrying peace in one hand and discipline in the other. It starts with one small question: what can I control today? Ask it every day, And build. Brick by brick, silence by silence, choice by choice, you construct the place where nothing can break you. Pain is a teacher, But only if you're willing to listen without whining, Only if you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You see, there's a silent violence in suffering, It cracks things open, It burns away what's fake, It doesn't ask for permission, it just arrives, But here's the secret no one tells you. Pain doesn't break you, It introduces you to who you really are. When everything's stripped away, the comfort, the applause, the distractions, you're left with a raw version of yourself, That version? That's where strength is born. Epictetus knew this when he said, difficulties show men what they are. Not what they pretend to be, Not what they post online, What they are, at the root. It's easy to be calm when life is soft. But real power is built when everything hurts, and you still show up, Still move forward, Still refuse to fold. This is how warriors are made, not in victory, but in the fire of defeat. Not in sunshine, but in the dark, when no one's clapping and you keep going anyway. So when life throws pain your way, don't shrink. Stand taller. Let it shape you, Let it sharpen you, Let it remind you you're still here, and you're not done. Most people react, They explode, complain, lash out, But reacting is easy, Responding, that's where the discipline is. There's a world of difference between a man who acts from emotion and a man who acts from reason. Seneca warned us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And it's true, Most of our pain doesn't come from what actually happens, It comes from how we interpret it. Someone cuts you off. You imagine it was personal, Someone says something harsh? You replay it in your head for days. But the Stoic? He sees what happened, He separates the fact from the story, And then, he chooses his response. Just like a swordsman chooses his blade, the disciplined man chooses his words, his actions, his silence. He doesn't give away control. Because when you lose your temper, you lose the battle. The real power is this: to pause, to breathe, to observe your own rising anger and say, not today. That pause? That's where freedom lives. It doesn't mean you never act. It means you don't let the world drag you by the collar. You lead yourself, through storms, through noise, through chaos. This is strength, to respond, not react. The world today worships comfort, soft pillows, fast answers, easy days. But strength isn't born from ease, it's born from voluntary hardship. Seneca once advised, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, is this the condition I feared? This wasn't self-punishment, it was self-preparation. Because when you choose discomfort, the world loses its power to scare you. You don't fear hunger, you've tasted it, You don't fear loss, you've practiced letting go, You don't fear judgment, you've lived without applause. You stop craving softness and begin craving strength. The modern mind is soft because it's never been tested, But the Stoic mind is trained, Trained in hunger, In cold, In silence, In being okay with less. Why? Because when hardship comes, and it will, you don't collapse, You nod, You've already met it in the mirror. The man who has trained in storms doesn't tremble at rain. So choose the hard path now, while you still have a choice, Turn off the noise. Walk without comfort, And find the steel that lives beneath your skin. A gem cannot be polished without friction, And a soul cannot grow without trials. The final way to stay strong in tough times. Endure without complaint. Not because the pain is small, Not because life is fair, But because your spirit is bigger than the wound. Most people cry out when life hits them, They want the world to notice their suffering, They want pity, attention, applause for surviving. But the Stoic doesn't need witnesses. He doesn't scream when he's tested, He sharpens, He goes inward, He grows quiet. Because true strength is silent. It doesn't post online, It doesn't beg for sympathy, It transforms pain into power without making a sound. When your heart is broken, let no one hear it crack, When you lose everything, stand as if nothing has changed, When darkness surrounds you, be the light no one expected. Marcus Aurelius endured betrayal, war, and death, yet never cursed the sky, Why? Because he understood, life is not what happens to us, It is how we carry it. So carry your pain like a soldier carries his shield, not to complain, but to protect others from collapse, Let the world look at you and wonder, how did he survive that, without breaking? The answer? You didn't survive, You transformed. Because strength isn't loud, It's consistent, It's disciplined, And it bows to no misfortune. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the Stoic verse, Not for comfort, But for courage.